Next on Worcester News Tonight, hundreds of first responders playing in a Central Mass hockey tournament this weekend, all for a good cause. Plus, cut services and increased fares, what changes WRTA riders can expect this summer. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Catherine Andrioli. The largest first responder hockey tournament in the country kicked off today at the New England Sports Complex in Marlborough. Nearly 100 Anna Maria College students volunteering at the event that runs through the weekend. More than 900 first responders representing fire, police, and military departments from all around the country are playing in the tournament that raises money for various charitable organizations. 54 teams will play in the tournament over the weekend at the New England Sports Complex. Mike Mitros works in the Fire Science Department at Anna Maria College and organized the tournament. He says 75% of the money raised will go to the individual team charities and 25% will go to the host charity, the Last Call Foundation.
Every team is playing for their own charity, whatever charity they pick, but we also have a host charity that were hosted by the Last Call Foundation, which was established 3 years ago when 2 Boston firefighters were killed.
We're playing for the Worcester Firefighters 6K Fund. Also has direct ties to the Worcester 6K road race that's being held in June. Obviously, we lost the 6 guys in December of '99, and ever since then there's been a charity that gives back to a lot of local causes. And Lieutenant John Franco is kind of the spearhead of that, so we're hoping to make some money for that charity.
The tournament kicked off tonight and goes through Sunday. More than 450 Armenians in the Worcester community attended a film screening of The Promise tonight. The movie sheds light on issues surrounding the end of the Ottoman Empire and the Armenian genocide. Members of the Armenian Church of Our Savior organized the outing at Showcase Cinemas North. The Promise shares the love triangle that develops between an Armenian medical student, an American journalist based in Paris, and an Armenian-born woman living in France during the genocide. People we spoke with say the film highlights important issues in history that need to be shown.
That old adage that those who forget history are condemned to repeat it. And this is the first genocide in the 20th century. It was a template for the Holocaust. Well, this is something that is really kind of burned into the soul of every Armenian. And when I was growing up in this community, probably 1 out of every 2 or 3 families had survivors and victims.
Thousands of people ride the Worcester Regional Transit Authority daily. Now with the WRTA facing a major deficit, changes need to be made. A hike in fares and cut in services will begin late June and early July. This is the first time the WRTA increased its fares since 2009. Olivia Lemon has the story.
It's Massachusetts. They jack up prices on everything constantly, so that's the way it works.
With a more than $780,000 deficit, the WRTA voted Thursday to raise fares and cut services.
We've been level funded by the state for the last 2 years. We're estimating a third year of level funding.
Worcester Regional Transit Authority Administrator Jonathan Church says about 13,000 people ride the buses every day, and the WRTA Advisory Board took into consideration the needs of the public before deciding to make any cuts.
Certainly trying to balance what we have to have for a budget, as balanced budget as possible, but yet provide service that we can provide.
Starting July 1st, riders will notice a hike in fares, with the day pass going from $3.50 to $4 and a 31-day pass going from $48 to $57.
It's kind of bad because, people only make so much money.
I probably won't be getting the all-day pass anymore, even though it's kind of worth it, but yeah. I don't really like that it's going up, but what can you do?
The WRTA says the new proposal is expected to bring in about $300,000 in increased revenue to help address the current deficit.
Over the next year, we'd like to look at other avenues to increase revenues other than fare increases and service cuts to make the WRTA more sustainable in the future going forward.
Church says this coming fiscal year will help the Transit Authority make decisions on what to do in the following years.
Going forward, we're looking to hunker down in FY18 and really pursue other avenues for ways to make the WRTA more solvable through partnerships throughout the city as well as with our ridership community.
Olivia Lemon, Worcester News Tonight.
Firefighters are investigating the cause of a fire in Leominster. The flames broke out at this house around 4 a.m. Firefighters tell us 3 apartment buildings, including one empty one, caught fire. Homes nearby were evacuated as crews worked to get that fire under control. There were no reports of serious injuries. A local hospital is looking to raise awareness for organ and tissue donation. Today, St. Vincent's Hospital recognized families impacted by those donations as part of National Donate Life Month. Our Jandro has the story.
Gather at St. Vincent's Hospital in Worcester Friday to recognize organ donors and recipients. The celebration is part of National Donate Life Month, a cause the hospital says will go a long way to saving lives.
Organ and tissue donation is really so important. It has the opportunity to transform lives.
One donor has the potential to save up to 9 people. So it's a pretty amazing thing that a donor could give that many gifts to people who are waiting.
Robert Romer received a heart transplant after a heart attack and heart disease diagnosis. Romer says while the physical part of his transplant was difficult, the mental aspect was the hardest.
For me to live and receive a heart, something tragic had to happen to some family. So you really don't want to wish that. You prepare yourself to die and just hope that our heart comes in, something happens. It is very important for donors.
St. Vincent says roughly 120,000 people are on the waiting list for an organ donation in the U.S. Jacqueline Lynch is the daughter of an organ recipient and says it is important to eliminate negative associations with organ and tissue donation.
There's a lot of misinformation out there as far as, if you put a label on your card, your driver's license, that you're going to wake up in an ice bath or whatever. And the reality is, most transplants only need portions, and it's amazing to be able to contribute that.
Now, of the 120,000 people on the waiting list, 3,500 live right here in the state of Massachusetts. The hospital says events like these, where survivors are allowed to share their stories with the public, is a great way to show the community why donating is so important. In Worcester, I'm Jandro, Worcester News Tonight.
And Worcester police sharing this photo on Twitter today. Members of the department sold Worcester PD running shirts today. On May 9th, 15 officers from the department will run from Worcester City Hall to the Law Enforcement Memorial in Washington, D.C., all to raise money for the Boys and Girls Club. On Twitter, they announced they sold out of shirts today. The next sale will be on April 28th from 8 to 5. And the Ecotarium celebrating Earth Day today during a special event. The rain didn't keep people from visiting the museum. Mascots Jake and Trax from the Bravehearts and the Worcester Railers paid a special visit to the museum. The theme for School Vacation Week is How Does Your Garden Grow? It features hands-on activities and interactive learning stations for families and kids to learn about the environment.
The Ecotarium has celebrated Earth Day since 1970, the very first Earth Day. So it's one of my favorite days of the year.
We have science discoveries happening throughout the day, tabletop activities that are really engaging, and then today, as part of Earth Day, we have amazing vendors from the greater Worcester community that are here sharing their educational activities, and there's farm stands, there's a lot going on.
The Ecotarium's motto is to inspire a passion for science and nature. Earth Day is celebrated on Saturday, April